Do you often feel bored? I have to say no, I actually seldom feel bored. I'm that type of person who could actually be very good at keeping myself busy. Even though if I'm left alone at home, I really enjoy spending time by myself, maybe listening to music, do some cleaning, or watching a movie, playing with my cats. I'm really good at keeping myself entertained, so I seldom feel bored. And the next question is, when would you feel bored? As I've mentioned, it's very rare for me to feel bored, but if I have to name a situation, maybe it would be when I'm waiting in line for a popular restaurant for over 30 minutes. If I'm alone, I wouldn't do this, but if I'm with my friends, if they really would like to have dinner in that restaurant, then yeah, the waiting process can be rather boring. Even though we might talk or chat, still it's just a monotonous process for me, to be honest. And the next question is, what do you do when you feel bored? That's easy. I mean, if I'm bored, I would probably do something that interests me. For example, reading some interesting novels, watching the reality shows that I want, or if possible, I'd rather hang out with my friends or talk to them, have a conversation with them, and to exchange our opinions or share the interesting things happened in our life. Those are all the ways for me to kill time. And the last question is, do you think childhood is boring or adulthood is boring? That's an interesting one. I have to say, for me personally, maybe childhood can be more boring than the adulthood, because when I was a child, I wasn't financially independent, of course, so I can't buy whatever I want, and I couldn't make decisions based on my own will. That's the important thing. And like it or not, I needed to go to school every day and finish my school assignments. So I guess adulthood is less boring for me, because you started to earn a living and you can make decisions by yourself, and those decisions might lead to several different novel experiences in your life. So that's quite interesting. But it doesn't mean that, you know, adulthood can also be less stressful. It's less boring, it's more interesting, but it's stressful at the same time.
Question 1. Do you often feel bored? Not frequently. I have a high boredom threshold because I always try to find ways to stay engaged and interested in various activities. Question 2. What do you do when you feel bored? Well, when boredom strikes, I may engage in some mentally stimulating activities such as reading or learning. I'm passionate about learning languages. And sometimes I may entertain myself by watching some movies or TV series. And sometimes I may find a more sociable way, such as hanging out with my friends. Another way for me to keep away from boredom is setting myself goals. Last year I took part in 2 significant examinations and the results were pretty good. And this year I also have a target, which is to pass the examination of Italian B2 level. In this way, I can always keep myself motivated. Question 3. Do you think adulthood is boring or childhood is boring? Well, I think both childhood and adulthood have their own excitements and challenges. It's quite challenging for me to pinpoint a definitive answer. But if I am forced to make a comparison between these two, I would say that adults may experience boredom more often. Because for kids, the world is brand new for them, so they are curious about pretty much everything around them. They would like to know every object they see, and they would like to understand everything they are told. But as individuals grow, they may lose the curiosity about the world they live in, because they are more and more used to everything around them. And when they face the monotonous and repetitive tasks in their daily life, in their daily work, boredom can easily strike.
Do you often feel bored? Yes, I always feel so bored. So I always talk to the flowers and the grass which I cultivate at home. When would you feel bored? I feel so bored now just talking to you. Well, I feel so bored and embarrassed when I'm with my relatives. I just have a strong aversion to talking to them. What do you do when you feel bored? I like watching videos of handsome men on TikTok. Sometimes I also browse the red.
Question 1. Do you often feel bored? Well, absolutely no, because I'm the kind of person who is fully occupied with my work from morning till night, so I don't really quite have time to feel tedious or bored. Question 2. When would you feel bored? Well, there might be several different occasions. First and foremost, sometimes when I go jogging in the park or in the morning, or when I swim in the swimming pool, I feel a little bit tedious because I could do nothing else. But in this occasion, sometimes I'm gonna, listen to some music, which will be beneficial for me to kill some time. Question 3. What do you do when you feel bored? Besides the things I mentioned just now, if I feel bored while waiting, because, my city, Harbin, is crowded with a large number of visitors recently, so wherever you go, you have to be kept waiting for a long time, no matter in the restaurants or some tourist destinations. In this occasion, maybe I will watch some short videos to kill time or chat with my friends online, which is a fantastic way for me to kill some time.
Do you often feel bored? Well, not really. I have a lot to do on my schedule and I'm mostly tied up with my study and work. And with the smartphones, I think nobody would feel bored that much nowadays. When would you feel bored? For example, when I'm having a meeting or waiting in the line or just doing some meaningless social activities, I would feel bored. So basically just those things that I have to do but I'm not interested in. What do you do when you feel bored? Well, if I have to stay where I am, if I have no choice, then I would play some games or watch short videos on my phone. Otherwise, I would definitely escape from that place and just find somewhere fun to go. Do you think childhood is boring or adulthood is boring? Well, neither, I think, because kids always have so many fun games and toys to play during their childhood, and they get to learn many new skills, which are interesting. On the other hand, for adults, although working might get boring for them, they can always spend money on other hobbies or just take a getaway from time to time.